Welcome to Rise Up Voices from the Front Lines, your window into relationship, identity, safety, emotional awareness, regulation and intelligence, unleashed potential, passion and purpose.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rise Up Voices from the Front Lines. And this is a trauma-informed leadership series episode. I'm Krista Fee, and today we are stepping into one of the most powerful shifts in leadership, the move from positional leadership to movement-based leadership. Most leadership models that we've inherited are about power, title, or structure. Transactional leadership trades rewards for effort. Transformational leadership, it inspires change. Authoritarian leadership enforces control. But movement-based leadership is different. It isn't about a job. It's about a mission. It isn't about authority. It's about moral clarity. And it doesn't live in theory. It lives in example. So let's begin with something you're probably familiar with, the Underground Railroad. Let's start with the example of Harriet Tubman. She didn't hold an office. She was never appointed to any committee. She had no official title. What she had was a mission to free enslaved people. What she had was moral clarity. Slavery was evil, and freedom was worth every risk. She lived the example. She walked back into danger again and again to lead people out. And because of that, she became not just a leader, but the heartbeat of a movement. That's movement-based leadership. So what is movement-based leadership? It's mission over position. You don't wait for a title to lead. The mission calls you and you answer. It's moral clarity. You know what's at stake. You know what's right and wrong. That clarity cuts through fear. It's being an embodied example. You can't just tell people where to go. You show them by living it first. Movements rise not because of slogans, but because of leaders who embody mission, clarity, and example. So let's make the neuroscience connection on why movements ignite. Our brains they're wired to follow purpose. When people see someone willing to sacrifice for a mission that's bigger than themselves, mirror neurons fire, hope rises, and motivation spreads. That's why movements often ignite around embodied leaders. Their nervous system communicates, I'm all in, and that signals safety so that others can follow. So let's talk about something that's a little bit more recent that might shed a little bit more light on the subject. Let's talk about the nurse who refused silence. During the early days of COVID-19, one ICU nurse began posting videos about the reality inside her hospital. She wasn't trying to build a platform. She was trying to tell the truth. Her moral clarity cut through the denial. Her embodied example, she showed up day after day. It rallied other healthcare workers. And within weeks, she wasn't just a nurse. She was a leader in a movement for awareness, safety, and reform. Movement-based leadership emerges in crisis, and it doesn't ask permission. So let's explore a little bit more deeply why traditional leadership falls short. Traditional leadership models often fall short in trauma-saturated times. Transactional leadership says, do this, you'll get that. But trauma doesn't respond to transactions. It responds to safety. Transformational leadership can inspire change, but without mission clarity, it risks become nothing more than motivational noise. And authoritarian leadership enforces control, but control without trust breeds rebellion. Movement-based leadership speaks the language of trauma-informed leadership: clarity, mission, and example. So why do I lead this way? I breathe this framework. I didn't set out to start a movement. I just wanted to serve. But over time, I realized people weren't looking for another program or a title. They were looking for somebody that was willing to embody a mission. And that's why I founded Rise Up Phoenix, because movements don't start in boardrooms. They start in the fire of lived conviction. Now, I want to give you some really practical takeaways on cultivating movement-based leadership. How can you step into aligned movement-based leadership? First, define your mission. What's the cause that's worth your sacrifice? 2, clarify your compass. Where is your moral North Star pointing? And 3, live it. Don't ask people to go where you haven't gone yourself. Don't ask people to go where you wouldn't go yourself. So here are a few reflection questions that you can ask yourself. What mission would you lead, even if it didn't come with the title? Where is your moral clarity strong? And where is it still foggy? What example are you living today that others can follow tomorrow? Mission is movement. And here's a truth. Movements don't rise because of positions. They rise because of missions. They rise because leaders embody moral clarity and lived example. That's movement-based leadership. And it's what our trauma-saturated world needs most. So thank you for joining me on Rise Up Voices from the Frontlines. And this is our Trauma-Informed Leadership series. If you enjoy this series, share it forward, because movements don't grow from positions. They grow from people willing to lead with their lives. And if you would like support on your own self-leadership journey, or you would like to join our Trauma-Informed Leadership course and community, or if you'd like to bring our IACET CEU trainings to your organization, simply use the calendar link in the show description to receive your free consultation. I'll see you next time on Rise Up Voices from the Frontlines. And don't miss next week's episode in the Trauma-Informed Leadership series.
Become a Rise Up Hero sponsor to provide mental wellness and crisis response resources for those who serve country and community. Join us in the Rise Up movement